All right, so we've got our stuff displaying here, but I want to make it look better. I want to make it look a lot better. So first thing I want to do is actually display these images, and that's pretty easy. If I go back to my table, all I have to do for that is right here I'm just doing Pokemon image, but instead I'm going to do img src equals Pokemon image, and then close this out. Now this might end up being way too big, which means we'll need to restyle it to make it work, but let's see. Hey, look at that. We got the images showing and they are way too big. So let's reduce these down quite a bit to make them look a little bit more manageable. And we'll just do that with inline styling, which is pretty simple. We'll say style equals, and the way we have to do that, we actually have to pass an object here, and we'll just say width. Let's do 50 for now. 50 px, 50 pixels. That's fine. And much better, yeah. Very tiny little pictures, but they're there, and they're pretty good quality, and that's not too shabby. I don't mind that at all. Next thing I want to do is clean these guys up here. So I want to put a comma and a space between each of these. Now, there's a built-in function that you can apply to arrays called, I believe it's .split. If it's not, I'm gonna have to look it up. But let's say .split. Maybe it's not .split. .join. Okay, .join. Like that. Okay, and then this is the delimiter, which essentially this is the thing that's going to go between them. I want a comma and a space between each of them. So if this works for types, we can certainly do it for the other stuff. And you can see there it does work for types. We have grass, comma, space, poison, grass, poison. Very cool. So let's do that with our abilities as well. Much, much better. All right, the next thing I want to do, I'm actually going to get a helper function for this, but I want to capitalize the first letter of each of these things. In the name, I want to capitalize the first letter of the abilities as well. Well, let's do the name for now and then maybe the abilities in a moment here. Give me just a second here. I had one ready, but I lost it. Okay, I'm gonna get a little helper function here, and yeah, this is a weird one. This is using regex, but it'll work. So this is just a helper function that's going to essentially capitalize all of the words. It's not going to capitalize everything, but it's just going to capitalize the first letter of each word. Now this is called regex, or regex, some people call it. It's not something I want to get super into right now, but it's just going to be setting the first letter of a word to uppercase. So if I called this function on a variable, pass the variable in, it's going to return the capitalized version of that word. So now if you look, all of the names of the Pokemon are capitalized. So I want to do that with my types as well and my abilities, but that's going to actually be quite a pain. So what I'm going to have to do is probably create a separate function for that. Let's see if I'm trying to think of a clean way to do this. Let's do it with a separate function. So we'll say function capitalize words in array. And we're going to say the input in this case is going to be an array, string array. And we're going to return a string. We just want to return a string. Okay, so we're going to take the array. So what we can do here is I want to iterate through and build a new string. So instead of mapping, I'm just going to do this in kind of a weird way, but we're going to say let output string equal an empty string. So we're going to start off with an empty string, and then I'm going to iterate through the input that's put in. So I'll say for let I equals 0, I is less than input dot length I plus plus, and I want to capitalize each of the words, so I'm going to say output string plus equals plus equals capitalized words of input I. So essentially I'm passing my input I into here. Why is this? I'm trying to figure this out. Oh, because I put a comma instead of a semicolon there. There we go. So, and then I also want to add a comma. So I also want to say output string plus equals. Now plus equals just indicates that I'm adding it to whatever was already there. So I want to add a comma and a space as well, but I don't want to do this if it's the last one. I only want to do it if it's not the last one. So the way I can check if it's the last one, if it's not the last one, I can say if I is less than input dot length minus 1. So if it's the last one, then it's going to be 1 lower, but if it's anything less than that, it'll be 2 lower. So this will only add it if it's 2 or less, and then I can just return my output string. And hopefully that'll take care of it. Now, all I have to do in this case is I don't have to use join anymore. I'm just going to do Pokemon.types and capitalize words in array, Pokemon.abilities. And if it did what I wanted to, look at that. Now each word is capitalized. In this case, even solar power, where there's a dash in the middle, both get capitalized. There's still a comma and a space between. There's no comma and the space at the end. It did exactly what I wanted. Now for the height and weight, as I mentioned before, I want to do these in kilograms and meters. The metric system, baby. So first thing I'm going to do is change these headers. So I'm going to say weight kg and height meters. And the one thing I know about these is that I definitely know that Venusaur is not 1,000 kilograms. He's not 1,000 kilograms. He's 100 kilograms. So, and he's not 20 meters tall. He's 2 meters tall, which is, you know, still quite tall. It's taller than, and you know, taller than me. But I need to divide these by 10. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here. So what I'll do is in my table, height, I'm going to say divided by 10. Weight divided by 10. Now it doesn't like this for some reason. The left-hand side of a must be a type any number. Oh, sorry. This is the header. I need to do it down here. Divided by 10. Can't divide a string by 10. I can divide a number by 10. There we go. Now we get 100 kilograms, 8.5 kilograms, 0.6 meters. Makes much more sense. Much more sense in terms of their height and weight. And now that it's all beautifully cleaned up, let's go ahead and try to get all 151. Let's see if that takes way too much time. I don't think it'll be that bad, but it'll take a little bit of time. So I'm going to try 151. Save, and then I'm going to refresh over here, and let's see how long it takes to load all of them. It's loading. Come on, you can do it. Did it error out? Was it too much for it? Didn't like it. Oh, you see it's going through one at a time. It's up to 100, 5, 107, 121, 124, 132, 140, and 151. There we go. Beautiful. We got all 151 of the original Gen 1 Pokemon. We got all their info that we want. We still got some work to do. The next thing I probably want to do is adjust this call to be made from the server side rather than from the client side, which I think will be a little bit faster, and also you won't be putting that burden on your users if you ever actually publish your website. You don't want that burden on the users. Plus, you kind of want to hide the fact that you're calling from an external API. You want it to look like you're calling from your own API. And there's other reasons as well. Sometimes you need an API key that you wouldn't want users to have access to. So quite a few reasons why it's better to make these calls from the server side. So that's the thing we'll work on in the next video, but this is a pretty good stopping point. Quite a huge success here. Very happy with this.